What's going on, guys? Hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day. So the other day I was watching a Mohnish Pabrai interview with the students of Peking University, and there was this part where he talks about great businesses do not become great investments. And this is something I've been talking about for a long time, right? And this guy is Mohnish Pabrai, right? So if you don't know who Mohnish is, basically he's achieved about a 25% return from 1999 up to now. And you can see that he runs a focused portfolio, so he's a very Warren Buffett style kind of person. Like, he copies a lot of Warren Buffett's stuff, right? So let's just watch the video, and then I'll give you some of my thoughts on it, right? So this clip will be rolling at a 1.5 times speed, right? If anyone is wondering what
Guy
this is
Spear.
about.
He came to Peking U with me, I think 2-3 years ago, and Guy and I are good friends. And in fact, he was just in Irvine last week.
So Guy Spear is actually another fund manager, which is good friends with Warren Buffett and Mohnish as well.
And we were in Vancouver before that for the TED conference the week before that. So we are very good friends. And he's an investor. He manages about 200 odd million. And many times we talk about different stocks and ideas to, just get different perspectives. So Guy.
So first thing I want to say that a lot of people will see that 200 million, that number, oh, it's such a small number for all these renowned investors, right? Relatively speaking, yes, it looks like a big number, but again, when you compare it to Warren Buffett, which has like 800 billion or something like that, right? I'm talking about the whole Berkshire Hathaway company and other fund managers which have billions, right? But the amount of money you have does not make you more intelligent or better at investing than if you have less money, right? So just want to say that, right? Because some people may look at a hedge fund with 10 billion and instantly think that they are better investors than this Mohnish Pabrai and also this Guy Spear, right? But we have to look at the numbers, right? Instead of just making those kind of assumptions.
He loves to own these great businesses that have very strong moats, and they are blue chip, really good businesses, okay? The problem is that when you own these really great businesses, everybody knows they are great, okay? So the price is very high. Usually the price.
Yes, this is exactly my point when I always talk about it as well, right? When you know something, when something is very obviously a great business, right? There's no debate about it in the market. Everyone is just like, this is a great business no matter what, right? Look at Tesla, look at maybe in this example it uses MasterCard, but look at Apple, Amazon, all these companies, right? So all these companies, there's no debate about it. These are fantastic companies, right? But the issue is everyone in the market also knows that these are fantastic companies. So if you look at something like Palantir or Facebook or Alibaba, these are like the more debated things that, oh, maybe this is a good company or maybe this is a bad company, and there's a lot of uncertainty about the future. So those are the opportunities you want to look at and decide maybe this is like a company which is as strong as Apple, in my opinion, and then you buy it, right? Because if you buy something which is like Apple, Amazon, all and maybe Tesla, right, the prices are already very elevated, right? And that would be a great business, but it will be selling at a very high price, which will make it a bad investment, right?
Price is very high. And I tell him, it's not about the great business. It's about the great investment. So a company can be really good. It doesn't mean it will be a good investment. And a company can be not so good, and it could be a great investment.
So yeah, always want to talk about that, right? We as investors, we are looking for the best investment return, right? In fact, if you look at Microsoft from I think after the dot-com bust, and you look at Waste Management, right? These are two companies I always compare, right? Up to, I think, certain points in 2021, right? They had the exact same performance. And this is Microsoft that you might have bought in the dot-com bubble. And this is Waste Management just throwing garbage, right? So you have to look at it from the perspective of these are great investments instead of just great businesses. They can be great businesses and great investments, but those are, if it's well known, though it's not happening, right? So at the end of the day, we are just chasing investment returns, right? We are not chasing, oh, I made 10 times my money with Microsoft versus I made 10 times my money with Waste Management, right? What's the difference? The only difference for these big investors is because they have so much money to pour in, right? That Waste Management is like a 80 billion market cap or something like that, and Microsoft is a 1 point something trillion dollar market cap. which can absorb their billions of dollars, right? That's the only difference.
The interesting thing about the investing game is if the game was simply about finding the best assets or the highest quality businesses, it would be a very simple game. Because we can obviously figure out what business is great and what business is not so great. That's not so hard to figure out. So I found this okay business in India, which I thought was going to become a better business. People haven't heard about it. It's kind of unknown. And I told Guy, this business, this quirky, unknown business, is going to be a great investment. Great investment. And I told him, so he owned MasterCard in his portfolio. MasterCard is a very good business. Very high quality, almost a oligopoly, 2-3 players own the market. They don't need any capital to run the business. I mean, like 40% of revenue is profit. It's a great business. I said, this MasterCard is like at 30 times earnings. You made a lot of money. He already made like 12 times what he put in. Bought it a long time back. He put 1 million, it became 12 million. So I said, you made a lot of money. It's not going to go from 12 million to 144 million.
Okay, just want to speak about that on that point, right? A lot of people always look at past performance to extrapolate out to future performance, right? As with Tesla, right? A lot of the investors that are buying now are thinking that Tesla will continue to perform as it performed in the past times, right? Where Tesla stock basically did this, right? So 40x your money in about 8 years, right? So one thing to say that is that this thing will not happen in the future again, right? And in investing, we need to look at what will happen in the future, right?
If in the last 12 years it went from 1 million to 12 million, let me just tell you, next 12 years it's not going from 12 to 144. So I said, Guy, listen, I shook him up. It's time to sell MasterCard and buy Suntech Realty in Mumbai, okay? This unknown company. And of course, Guy, in polite terms, told me, get lost. So, what I do when people do that is I like to play mathematical games. It's just fun to play mathematical games. This is a picture of a small poster in my office, and I have many of these. At any given time, I have maybe 10 of these. Because I run into these humans who don't understand the concept of great investment and great company. So I told Guy, okay, here's what we're going to do. It is October 14th, 2018. This is when I had this conversation with him. In your corner is the phenomenal MasterCard with the impregnable moat, oligopoly business, great CEO, everything is fantastic. And that's called the Guy Spear pick. At that time, MasterCard was $204 a share. In my corner, this small, stupid company in Mumbai, Suntech Realty. No one even heard of it, right? And MasterCard, the market cap was 212 billion. Okay, 212 billion. It's a blue chip company. Suntech is less than 700 million. It is absolutely, I agree with Guy. The guy running Suntech is not as good as the guy running MasterCard. The moat of MasterCard is a lot better than the moat of Suntech. But that's not what this contest is about. This contest is about, I gave him 12 years.
So just one thing to talk about is the market cap, right? If you look at the market cap of MasterCard, right, when he was talking about it, right, it's about 200 billion, right? And that's very important to note that Guy Spear, when he bought this investment, it was like a $20 billion market cap, right? So if you take a look at it, right, it was not very obvious that it was a very good investment at that time, right? That's why he made 12 times his money, right? Versus right now, everyone knows MasterCard is like a very strong business, right? That's why Mohnish is saying in the future, the performance won't be like in the past, right?
So I said, we're not going to have a 1-year contest because anything can happen 1 year. Because basically one of the things that Munger and Buffett say, that if you have a business with great economics, over the long term, your results will match the returns that the business generates over the long term. So MasterCard generates.
So, okay, that's very important. If you have a great business over the long term, your business return will lead to investment return, right? And a lot of people don't understand this concept, right? They're asking like, oh, why is my stock going up? Why is my stock going down? So ask yourself, did you buy it at a fair price in the first place? And if you buy it at a fair price and it continues going down, are you very sure that your assessment is correct? If it is, just add to your position because the market is being irrational. Eventually, the day will come where the market is irrational to the upside as well, right? And that is when you want to sell, right? So basically, buy when the market is being irrational at the downside and sell when the market is being irrational on the upside, right? So it may sound very easy, me saying it. Then you're like, some people are like, oh yeah, sure, Captain Obvious. But yeah, that is essentially what you're trying to do, right? But I can tell you the process is not easy at all.
Great returns. And I said, Guy, you got such a great company. I got this useless company. We're going to go for 12 years. And every year, now when it is October 13th, 2019, it'll be a pleasure to go to work in shorts and send Guy an email. Dear Guy, it has been 1 year. Here's where we stand so far. 1 round is over. Another 11 rounds to go. So let's look a little further in these two businesses. Look at that. This is MasterCard. If you bought MasterCard at the IPO, when it IPO'd in 2006, it was $4.23 in the IPO in 2006. And now, yesterday, it's $254. More than 50 times, maybe 55 times, in 13 years. Unbelievable. And Guy didn't even buy over here. I think he bought at maybe around $20 a share, maybe somewhere here. 2010, somewhere here he bought. And every time I meet Guy, I tell Guy, have we sold MasterCard? No, I cannot sell MasterCard. It's too precious.
Yeah, that is how a lot of people are with their investments, right? They get married to their investments, right? Cannot sell MasterCard. It's too good of an investment. But they forget that their investments are only meant to make them money, right? And looking forward, can MasterCard generate as good returns, right? And if the answer is yes, then yeah, continue holding on to it, right? But a lot of people get the idea of being married to a stock. Like a lot of retail people, especially, they actually make fun of you for selling, right? And that's very ironic, right? Because the main point of buying an investment is to eventually sell it at a profit, right?
Precious, get it, sell it. How can I sell it? Look at this. Can you sell this? You can't sell this, okay? And then we have just some data. Okay, so it's 261 billion market cap. The trailing PE is 42. I'm almost having like a cardiac, 42 times trailing PE. Trailing return on equity is 106.
So just take a look at the stats, right? And you can see the annualized return since IPO is 40% a year. That is absolutely fantastic, right? 40% a year. But the question now comes when you're investing is, can it continue to produce 40% in the next few years? And that's a real question you have to ask yourself.
We give you all the slides. You don't need to take pictures. Don't worry. I send you all the slides. Trailing return on equity, 106%. And annualized return since the IPO, 37%. Unbelievable. Great. But that's in the past. It's not going to help Guy in the future. We care about the future. We don't care about the past, right? So now here's Suntech. Look at the stupid chart. Okay? MasterCard, so beautiful. Suntech, so useless. Okay? Now, let me tell you why I don't want to make this session about stock tips. So don't think this is a stock tip. It's just to explain some concepts, okay? So in India, about 3 years ago, there was something that...
Okay, this is a part where he talks about like what makes Suntech Realty a good company and all. What happened to change his mind about Suntech Realty becoming a good company. So I'm not going to go through that. What I really wanted to capture in this video was the fact that he was talking about MasterCard versus Suntech Realty, some company that everyone knows versus a company that no one knows, and which one will become a better investment, right? So we won't know until their contest is over in 2030, so don't expect me to have the answers. But as of now, I believe Mohnish is winning. So yeah, that's about all I wanted to share today. If you did enjoy the video, do help me smash up the like button, just like I did here, right? Subscribe to the channel and also hit the bell notification. Go and subscribe to Mohnish Pabrai's channel as well. You can learn a lot on that. And yeah, with that being said, have a fantastic day and peace out.